verses 16 to 24. Our giving is proof of our love. Verse 16. But thanks be to God who puts the same earnestness, the same diligence on your behalf in the heart of Titus. Just as you're being diligent to give, Titus is diligent to stick up for them. And that's what Paul wanted them to learn in their lives. Verse 17. Because he not only accepted our appeal, again, calling to one side, grasping the hand, like he went to Corinth. He'd been at Corinth before. He was going to Corinth again. But himself, being himself very earnest, he has gone to you of his own accord. Paul didn't have to twist his arm. He went to them, and they didn't even have to suggest it to him. Verse 18. We have sent along with him the brother whose fame, means commendation, in the things of the gospel is spread through all the churches. Who's that brother? God. Nobody knows. Nobody knows who that brother is. He must have been really important. Verse 19, and not only this, but he also has been appointed by the churches. They had a vote. Means to appointed there means to stretch out the hand. One of the few places in Scripture you'll see people voting on something. And they voted to send this guy to travel with us in this gracious work which is being administered by us. Same word we use for deacon, administered. The apostles were deaconing the money. They were administrating that money. And Titus, who had this good reputation and has the character, is the guy who is along there doing it. 4, purpose. Why did they do this? The glory of the Lord himself. That God would show up in the church. That God would receive glory from it. And to show our readiness, taking precautions so that no one will discredit us in our administration of this generous gift. Paul's making sure that they know that they will administer their gift with care so that God will be glorified. Verse 21. 4, we have regard for what is honorable, not only in the sight of the Lord, but also in the sight of men. They want to be pleasing to God. They want to be upright before men. Verse 22, we have sent with them our brother whom we have often tested and found diligent in many things, but now even more diligent because of his confidence in you. As for Titus, he is my partner and fellow worker among you. As for our brethren, they are messengers of the churches, a glory to Christ. They live in a way that honors Jesus. Therefore, because this is true, openly before the churches, show them the proof of your love and of our reason for boasting in you. Be faithful to the calling God has given you. Be faithful. When you make a promise to God, you need to be careful. Because when you promise God something, guess what? God expects you to be obedient. Be careful what you promise to God. Some more on giving. Just a few things here. Jesus said, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. We protect what we treasure. We take care of what we treasure. What do you treasure in your life? James, he was saying that it's if you see a brother in need and you just talk about fulfilling that need and you do nothing, that's emptiness. That's not faith. Isaiah said, take the bread from your own table. Be willing to share what you have with others. John said that that whoever has this world's goods and sees his brother in need and closes his heart towards him, does the love of God abide in him? Implied answer is no. Some words here. There's a grave responsibility to handle the funds that are collected by the church with integrity. We have a number of people who work on that team. Jeremy works on that team. Ron Gooding, Darrell, Thorna. There's a number in that team that oversee to make sure that things are done right, to make sure things that are done that the government says needs to be done. Not only that the government says it needs to be done, but that it honors God in how it's done. I remember one time I was in Elmer and I was in another church, and we had one of the things that we had to do is we had to go look at other church services and see how they were run. And what happened is we were in this service, and they had taken up the offering, and in that church, everybody came forward, and they kept the offering going until the bucket was full enough to say, okay, that's the offering. And they would just keep playing the music, and it would just keep happening and happening, and eventually there was enough in the bucket, and the pastor would come forward. We had a guest speaker in that night, and so I'm writing a report. I'm doing this for Bible college. Here's what other churches are doing. And the guy leads in prayer, and you ever do this sometimes? You don't close your eyes. You just open your eyes, see what's going on. There's the guy with a wad of 20s, straightening them around, folds them in half, and puts it in his coat pocket. I'm going, huh? It just blew me away. Here's the thing. We're responsible before God to deal well, to deal rightly with God, what God has given us. Your gifts are important. You know what? You've been amazing this year. The year before, we had a 20% drop in the amount of people here, and our giving has gone up by about 20%. And it's all coming from you and your generosity and your faithfulness. And I can't explain how it happens. I don't know how. The church we came from, 800 people. They had to lay people off this year. Churches are suffering, and in the midst of that suffering, you have been very generous to God. So how do we apply this morning? Finish what we've started. We've made some commitments to this couple in Colombia who are serving Jesus. And some of you put down, here's what I'm going to give every month. We need you to be faithful and to do what you say. We don't want to stand here next year this time and say, we're behind by... No, we want you to, that's between you and the Lord, but you made a promise to him, you made a promise to him. Faithful giving. Just because I stand up here and say, you guys are amazing, don't go, I guess it doesn't matter now. Well, no, it does. But I just want to commend you that you have been faithful and you have been generous. Continue. Continue. You are an amazing group to serve. We're doing our best to handle the things well and honestly and above board. If you have any questions, come and ask us.